on this episode of the Sorority Chat podcast.
And I was like, so you push her into anything and everything sorority because she is getting Fortune 500 level experience as a sorority girl. And he was like, I thought I was just buying dresses. I said, you're certainly doing that too, but there's a lot more to it.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Sorority Chat. I'm Liz Toombs, a designer and sorority alum who's obsessed with all things Greek life. My mission? To bring you real conversations, smart insights, and fun stories that help make sorority living even better. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's chat. Hey sorority chatters, today you get to hear from someone who embodies a blend of sorority spirit and boardroom brilliance. Alicia Conner is the founder of Corporate Sorority Sister, and she has 14 years of advising under her belt for one of the largest chapters in the country. She has also done national service on recruitment initiatives, built a $300 million business in the corporate retail world, and raising 2 little ones. She is here to show us how your sorority experience is not just a memory, but a career flex. She is all about language, leadership, red lips, pink blazers, faith, and rewriting what it means to be a, quote, sorority girl. Welcome, Alicia.
Oh my gosh, you just made me sound so awesome.
I just like your vibe. I really dig all of it. I'm here for it.
That's me. All of those things.
I like it. I like that you're leaning into it. I'm excited to have you here. I follow you on Instagram. I am a nerd when it comes to kind of soft skills and leadership and corporate stuff and presenting yourself well. And you do such a great job of encouraging students with that. And that is why I wanted you to come on and talk to folks today.
Yes, that is the stereotype that I am so eager to rewrite the narrative, is that sorority girls are all party girls and all the things that Hollywood might say. They are so much more, and they are developing these skills that are essential in business when they can't even rent a car.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What makes it even harder is that they're peer to peer. And you know that in the workforce, it's easier to lead and, lead a business if your workers are younger than you, or you're reporting to a boss that's much older. It's really hard to lead on peers and that you are living with 100 of them. So they are developing truly phenomenal skills and don't even know it.
Yes, I really appreciate that, the hindsight that you're bringing and how you're helping the next generation, because I experienced exactly what you were talking about. I didn't hold leadership when I was in my sorority in college, but at 25, I started a business. And so I know what it's like to sort of struggle to be the young leader in the room, and you're trying to get your peers or folks older than you to come along and follow your vision. And it's just a different situation.
Agreed. That's exactly.
So let's kind of go back to the beginning a little bit and give everybody background on your aha moment when you realized that sorority experience could become this business for you. It can be the foundation for people's corporate careers and shaping this business that you're creating. What was that aha moment?
I wish I could say it was just one.
Huh?
There are multiple just little nudges from God that this is your calling. It wasn't until well into advising that the chapter started getting really big, and all members had to be part of recruitment, and girls would just be heartbroken. Members would be heartbroken if they weren't talking in conversations. And so I'm like, God, there's so much value in other areas. How do I help them see this? And so I started using analogies, and we like a football team. Everyone sees everyone on the field, but you've got so many support roles, to the person who takes the tickets, to the people who market the event, to the water team, to the audience, the fans, the cheerleaders, the practice team. There are so many parts of that football team that make it successful. And so I started talking in that language, and we started building out roles and committees. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great marketable experience. And so we would build the recruitment team. Now that's one side. The next side is work business started just going awesome. And the girls were like, oh, you are a worker too. You don't just work for the sorority. I'm like, no, I have a real job. And so then they started coming to me for advice and perspective on getting their foot in the door in the business world and how can they differentiate themselves or get a job, fix their resume. How do I answer these questions? And it kind of morphed into they see me as a leader in this space. I've got this experience of like sorority operations, and God was like, this is your unique path. You're the only person who has 20 years of corporate brand building and 14 years advising a huge chapter. This is how you use your voice and talents and go and help the world.
I love that. I love that you said it was like a series of things, a collection that made you be like, okay, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And that's what I like to tell the girls too, is it'll be little nudges along the way of like they're 20. They don't know their purpose, but they know a lot of their strengths. Like, how do you lean into those strengths for moments to open or for challenges to happen or to overcome something? Like, it'll be built along a long time. Just trust in that divine process.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say it's fascinating to me that as a culture, when we're 18 years old, we're supposed to pick our path. And now I realize like the way that we evolve through life, and again, the hindsight side of things, I can see how it's all come full circle and it leads you. But at the time, what it feels like is high pressure to pick a career, pick a major, get through it, check the boxes. And really, that's just not how it goes, right? We evolve and grow as people based on our experiences.
Yeah. Actually, I love how you said that. Like, to me, college is more about, I don't want to discredit college because that's where the sorority experience is had. Like, I don't want to discredit that at all. But a lot of it is proving that you can stick with something. Like, I can get to class on time. I can make these assignments. I can, manage myself in a more of a freedom environment than high school was, right? It's the experiences outside of the classroom that really build skills that can set you up in corporate.
Yes, I agree with that. And I appreciate what you said about you don't want to discredit college, but I think we just need to look at it through a different lens than maybe how it has been perceived up till now.
Yes.
So you talk about advising this large chapter. How large? What chapter is it? Like, will you give us some insight on that?
It is Chi Omega, the founding chapter at the University of Arkansas.
Nice.
And pledge classes in my 14 years have been anywhere from, I think 120 was the smallest to just under 200.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just one pledge class. And so when you've got 4 pledge classes, you're a 600 person chapter, which is a lot bigger than some startup organizations that these women want to go and lead after college.
Right.
With an operating budget that's larger than a startup's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a business.
It is. I love that you've drawn that parallel because you don't think of it that way typically. And you kind of were alluding to this earlier, or I drew the parallel here, but I think Greek life gets a bad rap, right? From television, from movies, from in the news, the mistakes, those are the things that are highlighted, the like wild, salacious stuff, which is pretty minimal compared to the things you're talking about, which is these students are learning to run a business, to lead their peers. They're translating this into really good experience that will come forth in the rest of their life, which is part of the reason that led me to launch this podcast, because I really want to highlight those good things and the positive stuff that comes from it, because you and I have translated that into very positive things in our careers.
God, there's so many positive things. There's so many positive things about sororities. Like, I could get giddy about it. Oh, there's just so many within your own chapter, with like learning like the Panhellenic side and meeting Panhellenic sisters. God, there's just so much value and growth and development and connections in this community. I agree. I could fangirl over sororities all day.
Yeah, same. So you obviously were in the corporate world before launching Corporate Sorority Sister. So talk about maybe how you connected the dots from your sorority experience into the work world, and then now you're coming back to the...
Well, I'm still in the corporate world, and I have no plans of leaving. So I love my job. I think it gives me a lot of the business experience too.
Truth.
And I want to always continue to grow and develop. And so with the whole AI coming in, I'm like, how is this going to change how I do work and how I instruct the collegians to work? And I have no plans on leaving the corporate world. I work for a health and wellness company, so it feels like my personal values also. So it fuels me, and the business is doing great. So
okay, so talk about how you took the skills that you gathered in your sorority experience in college, and then how you've pulled those into corporate work and beyond?
A million ways. I'll give you two examples. One from my collegiate experience. So it's recruitment. Every member has to go through being a recruiter of some type, of somewhere on the recruitment team. You have to get to know people and essentially an interview process with a potential new member. You have to be able to read somebody. You have to be able to then go advocate for that potential new member to the chapter or you have to influence her to choose your chapter over someone else's. Like, those are all incredible business skills. Essentially, business is influence, and that's it. Like, you're trying to get somebody to do something to help you out or to help business out, or you're influencing them to do that. That's what recruitment is. It's like, how do I tell a story that makes you feel like you're here so that you want to join? From my freshman year or sophomore year, when I was a recruiter, that's a skill. We've been working on it ever since. Now, I'll say that I've been a sorority girl for so long. I only have 4 years of in-college experience, and I've got 3 times that outside of being a collegian. The company I work for every day to day, I will never have a team that is 600 people. I'll never have that. I get the experience of managing a recruitment team and a recruitment organization, and I get to pour into those leaders and like challenge them on strategic thinking and how do we think differently? How are we innovative? How do we make the consumer experience better? How do we change marketing? Like, those are things that I'm getting to do because of the sorority experience that I don't get to do in my day job at the scale, I should say. I do a lot of those things every day, but not at the scale. So those are 2 ways that I've taken sorority knowledge and experience and applied it to everyday life.
I love those. Those were very good examples and tangible examples that I think you're not alone in having that experience. I'd say a lot of people have some ways that they've translated that. So thanks for sharing.
I mean, who can't relate to recruitment conversations? Like, we've all been there, and we've had some terrible ones. There have been some really, really bad ones.
Yeah, now you're making me laugh because I'm thinking back on conversations, even awkward conversations in business, right? Just to your point, like, oh, geez, that was bad.
But you have to have those too. Like, that's business experience. Like, you have to know how to pivot a conversation or roll with it. If you guys are talking about, I'll tell you this, just some funny stories. I can't remember what year it was. It's been in the past 5 years. There was a potential new member one of the 2, and her sticky boob fell out like during a recruitment party. And you're like, oh my God, how do you make it through that? And lo and behold, just as swiftly as possible, another person picks it up, just hands it to her discreetly, and they keep going. I'm like, we don't talk about sticky boobs really in business.
Yeah.
But the essence is there of like the principle of something happens, you have to figure out a solution really quickly and keep going because you can't disrupt everything around you, right? There's so much business experience or like corporate life experience inside sorority walls. I love it.
I'm going to remember the sticky boob story for a long time.
It's a hard one. It's the hard one to forget. It's a good one.
It sounds like it was expertly executed and is now a very good example of how to just roll with it.
You got to roll with it.
Absolutely. So you refer to yourself as not the typical career coach. And I know that you don't even really love the word coach, but how did you settle on this title? And what does being an advisor and sort of big sis energy mean to you in your work?
I just use sorority coach because of SEO optimization and people can find it easier.
That's fair.
That is as simple as that. I'm like a cheerleader. Like, I'm the cheerleader sorority girl that just wants to see you succeed. I was putting content together, and I think one of the things I wrote, it was like, I just want to see you succeed. Like, I want to see these girls go off and do amazing things, whatever they are. And I want them to use their sorority experience to do that, to say, I already have a lot of skills that are super valuable to go chase my dreams, whatever those are. I want to be the one that's cheering you on to do that. So that's like the big sis energy. But like, I also come with I also have a $300 million business. Like, I know how to do business also, but I like the fun cheerleader side. I like colorful, bright, like fun.
I like it. I feel like I'm talking to Elle Woods post-college, and part of this is being influenced by the fact I just saw Reese Witherspoon speak last night about her new book, but there's just a lot of those vibes from you of just like, yes, you can do this, like positivity.
You can.
And I love it.
So I have a funny story if you've got time for one more.
I sure do.
I was actually in Cambridge at Harvard recently for a health and wellness summit. Not a summit, summit is a fancy word. It was a meeting. There were 30 to 40 people there, very small group. I'll be honest, Liz, I don't know how I got there. I was sitting across from the chief medical officer of Walmart. And I'm like, I have a decent job. I have a really good job. How am I at the same table with you? Anyways, there was another person there from Walmart, and that's the retailer I call on. So I work with the Walmart merchants. And I was like, I am putting my networking skills to the test. I'm going to go meet this other person. And so I snuck my way in the best sorority networker that I could. And he is a SVP at Walmart. And so we could talk in business, whatever. And so we got to family and I said, hey, do you have any kids? And he said, yes, I have one, goes to this university and just went through recruitment. And I'm like, what? After I picked myself up off the floor because I'm like, oh my God, he has just opened the door to sorority talk. Side note, you know that Mean Girl scene that Lindsay Lohan is like, I was praying, I want to talk about Regina all the time. And when I'm not talking about Regina, I'm praying that somebody else will bring her up so that we all can talk about Regina.
Yep.
That's how I feel about sororities. So when this guy brought up sorority, I was like, you have got to push her into leadership. And he was like, what? And I'm like, in my mind thinking, how in the world am I going to tell an SVP at Walmart, very high business guy, that what his daughter just did was the best leadership move possible? And I'm like, how do I Walmartize this? And I was like, okay, think about it like this. All the national organizations, sorority organizations, they're like the Walmart home office. They're the ones who have the strategy of the brand, and they own the brand, and they've got all the processes and operations of long-term membership value, right? In Bentonville, Arkansas, where developed strategy and they talk about go-to-market stuff like that, they have the big vision. Well, the chapters are like the super centers, where they are extensions of that head brand. His jaw dropped. And I was like, they each have their own P&L. They each have their own marketing team. They have their own recruitment and hiring, talent acquisition. They have morale building. They have culture teams. They have people who stock the shelves. They have people who are the operations that make sure things happen. You could see the light click. And I was like, so you push her into anything and everything sorority because she is getting Fortune 500 level experience as a sorority girl. And he was like, I thought I was just buying dresses. I said, you are certainly doing that too, but there's a lot more to it. And I was wearing this pink dress. And again, I'm on Harvard's campus. And I'm like, this feels like a really Elle Woods moment. I was able to show someone who did not think that way about sororities, that there's this whole other angle. And I was like, if I could do that with him, I have full faith in the women that I coach, advise, mentor, whatever you want to call it, to do the same. They just need the language. They just need to know how to talk about it. Because that's the hard part is, honestly, Liz, that's the hard part with any job. If you get to your annual performance reviews, you're like, my God, I know that I did a lot this year, but how in the world do I explain what I did? It's hard. It's hard to talk about that kind of stuff. So that is my mission, is I want to give these women the language that an SVP at Walmart can understand, and their parents or their friends, or that they feel proud of themselves too. That, yeah, what I did actually mattered. Here's another example. I've got so many examples. During work week or rush week, you know what work week is?
Absolutely, I do.
I feel like you might. In all the viral dances that go, all the chapters do all the viral dances, any CEO or brand manager would die to have that type of viralness that a college kid did for free in spare time during a stressful week. That is those are $1 million campaigns that those girls are putting on. They don't even realize the amount of reach and exposure that those sorority brands get. A chief marketing officer would say, sign me up every time. And that's why you probably see more and more brands starting to get on board with how do we monetize this? It's all business experience. It's so good and it's so valuable. I just want to tell everybody as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I love it. I love the message. And I think what you so expertly did when you were at that Harvard meeting was you translated sorority experience into things that gentlemen could understand. That analogy may not work with every single person that these sorority women come across, but if you can on the fly figure out what will connect with this person and translate that sorority experience to things they understand, that's where the magic happens and they're going to make the connection.
It goes back to a recruiting skill. So if you're talking to a potential new member who's having some reservations about where she wants to go on the next round of parties or just sororities in general, maybe she's not a sorority girl, you've got to figure out where they're at, what world they're living in, what their hesitations are, and then translate it into their language. I mean, that's a recruitment skill. Literally everything about sororities. I joke that I'm like, hey, if you took out the trash for recruitment so that the recruitment team didn't have to, or something has filled up the printer with paper, you are helping with the operations and logistics of your new 200 member pledge class, which is talent acquisition. So like you are a support role that is super important. That's an extreme example, but it is like there is value in everything you're doing. And then I'm like, if you do that 5 days in a row, what type of percent increase is that? Did you have any sustainability metrics of like, did you recycle versus throw the trash? Like there's so many ways to use your sorority experience to help your career.
And I think it's great that you're bringing that to their attention now, so then they can sort of log that or be paying attention to it so they can find those metrics, which then will translate to them when they're putting together the resume or they're interviewing for an internship or their job, because then they're prepared instead of having to recall it all on the fly.
I love that you brought that up. So I actually speaking on Arkansas's campus next week onto the Panhellenic, and that's the takeaway I'm giving them as a tracker that helps them start to name what they're doing and help them put it in a bucket of like, this is a communication skill, this is a strategy skill, this is a marketing skill. And then I give them examples of how to translate, like what metrics should you be tracking? And then I help them with, if you're going into this certain type of industry, this is how you would want to frame it. So it's all, and I want them to have a huge long list by the time they're trying to do their resume or post something on LinkedIn that they can pull from. That's like, this shows this, this shows this.
The nerd in me loves that. Like, I love that you're giving them that takeaway in that way.
Little data tracker. They don't know that yet.
Well, that'll be a great takeaway for them. Very valuable. So when you were talking about the Harvard campus, I remember you walking across that campus and talking about being in pink and, back to kind of what I talked about in your intro with the red lip, the pink blazer. Like it can be, you don't have to be stiff in your professionalism. So talk about maybe the style side of things and why that's so important to you and what you encourage with your clients about bringing their full selves and their style to the table professionally.
I could talk about this for so long too. Early in my career, like third role out of college, don't even job, like third role, a SVP who I really like, she'd watched out for me and got me into a lot of different special projects. But she told me like I was just too colorful. And so I toned it down and I toned down who I was. That's because from what I've gathered at that time, that's because that's how she made it to where she was. And I think the rules have changed. And I also think that nobody should have to push themselves down in order to be somebody else's something. Because I think you just waste so much time. You are who you are, like be you. So a lot of the training that I do, the whole first part of the training is simply getting like, what are your core values? How do you want to show up? If you were to create, like, and we actually create personal brand kits of like, this is your inspiration. This is your voice. Like if you're going to go post on LinkedIn, this is how you want it to sound. Not how Alicia wants you to sound. How do you want to sound? Because that's going to start to create an ecosystem of having a brand that's you. And what that does is it attracts the right type of jobs for you. So you're not stuck in your 20s downplaying who you really are in a weird time anyway, trying to chase something else. Like you're getting to your goals faster because you're using and being who you are. So the word professional, I think it is dumb, but because what is professional?
I think it's situational and it varies industry by industry.
Right. But if you want pink earrings, wear pink earrings. If you want to have a little like ruffle, have a ruffle. It's all about how you carry it.
I fully agree. What you're describing, it reminds me of a friend of mine. She's a judge and she's 5'0", always in like leopard or pink high heels. She has very short hair. She wears enormous earrings. Like this is not what you think of when you say a judge, right? And I mean, she's very good at her job. She's very serious, but she very much connects with the folks in her courtroom. And part of that is because she's walking in very authentic to herself. And so then it's easier to make the connections.
That's it.
I love that. I love that so much. And I also appreciate that this is where the messaging is going, as opposed to, you talking about your mentor kind of telling you tone it down. I feel like that was the message that I got too entering the professional world. And now people like you and I are saying like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, it's different now. We can show up as ourselves. And like, I know I'm trying to do that a lot myself. And you use the word attract. And that is a huge focus for me. Instead of chasing, I'm attracting because I'm being myself.
You're being yourself. So there are wonderful career coaches out there. I actually listened to a podcast this morning and yesterday about, they were giving advice on getting jobs because I'm always trying to learn. And both of these career coaches ultimately said, no frills, like just give the information that's needed. Don't put a picture on there. Don't on your resume. Don't go over the top. Like just give them what they're looking for. And I think that's terrible advice for sorority women and for young professionals. Now, that might be great for someone who is seasoned, who has a network, who has this huge laundry list. My point to the girls, what I tell them is like, you are trying to build a relationship as quickly as possible without knowing them. So showing them your face is a huge deal. Like they want to be able to see. I mean, they're probably Googling you anyway, like they're looking up on LinkedIn and Instagram, but you're trying to build a connection. I think about it as if you are a potential new member going through Rush. How did you get that recruitment chair's attention? Like, how did you stand out in a pile of 2,000 resumes? It's going to be even harder because when you're going into the workforce, you're now also competing with boys. Where in sorority, you're just competing with the girls who are going through recruitment at that school. Now, your candidate pool has exponentially increased. And why not be you? Like, why not show a picture? Why not have a personal statement that's like, this is what I'll bring to the business because of these great qualities? And some fun fact. That's what I tell them is like, give me a couple of like business things, but also tell me something fun that makes you you. Like if you love cats, like you're the cat person, that's fine. Do you like hot coffee versus iced coffee? Find a way to pull that in. Like whatever it is, like something that gives like a relatable element that is authentic to you, you're going to attract the right people and the right jobs. People are going to want to work with you. I feel like resumes, they outline like how you can deliver on business results, right? Like they give like receipts of that. But it should also say like why I want to work with you, like why I want to work with this person. Anyways, these two podcasts that I listened to said the opposite. So I know that I am not the norm. And I tell them that like, I'm not your normal cup of tea. And that's okay if you don't love this cup of tea. I don't really even like tea.
We differ there. I'm a big tea lady. That's what I'm drinking.
I'm a different flavor altogether. And I'm not for everybody, but I think that there is a lot of strategy in what I do. I've seen it time and time again. What I want these girls to do is chase after their dreams in the most authentic way possible, using their sorority experience as the power behind it.
Yeah, I love that. And something, you said, why not be yourself? Why not share a picture? Why not this and that? I think probably the first thing that comes to students' minds is, well, because then maybe they won't pick me or they won't hire me. And what I think if you take it a step further, which is what you're getting at, then maybe that's not the place for you. It's okay, right? It's okay to be repelling some because that means it's not the right fit. So rather than end up somewhere and miserable, get the yes at the right place.
This is what I tell them. And I used this example a couple weeks ago. Now, I don't want to get political here at all, but if there is someone who has a gender stereotype of girls and sees me fully girly, regardless of my business results, I do not want to work for that person, period. I don't want to work for that person. Because I need someone who can work with a strong woman who is not afraid to be herself. The business will be better. The relationships will be better. It's just not worth it. So you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, I think there's just so much value in that. And I also appreciate what you were saying about when you're speaking, a lot of what you talk about first is knowing yourself, knowing your core values. We had Ethan Braden from Texas A&M on the show several episodes back, and everything we kept talking about with social media and how you present yourself was you ultimately have to know yourself first before you can put anything out there. And that's exactly what you're saying with understanding what your voice is, who you are, how you want to be perceived in the world. And it's, somewhat strategic in what you're presenting to everyone.
I need to go back and listen to that one because that's what I believe. Like if you're not who you are, you're going to spend your 20s, maybe 30s chasing who everybody else wants you to be.
And nobody needs to do that. That's a waste of time. We're not here for that long. Don't waste all that time. Talking about being true to yourself, I hear it in our conversation today, and I see it in what you're sharing online. Faith is a big part of your narrative. And so how does that show up in your work?
I just got chill bumps, like hopefully everywhere. Hopefully as much as pink and colorful and glitter as you see in me, you also see the Holy Spirit coming through in just crazy ways. Now, I can't say much about it because I've signed an NDA, but it's like what's going on in the background. There is no question that God is in the details. Like there's no question. There's no question. It's so, my mom told me back when I was in college, so this was 20 years ago, Alicia, God's going to do big things with you on campus. And when I was telling her about like some other things going on with Corporate Sorority Sister, she was like, Alicia, don't you remember us praying about that 20 years ago? Like how God's going to use you on campus. And I'm like, and then I just started crying because it's like, you don't think, oh my God, I cannot do this. Whew. Get it together. You don't think that the really hard times you have leading up to it, up to 20 years worth of stuff is coming full circle because this is the beautiful story God was creating for this moment, for this time. So God is in every detail. Please do not understand. You have to understand, I'm not perfect. I am a human and I have human opinions and I'm by no means perfect. But do I love Jesus? Oh yeah. Do I believe that his wonderful story is being played out through me in this platform? Yes.
Well, I am excited to see what's coming down the pike for you. I think you're so very passionate about your calling. It is obviously divinely orchestrated. And I'm so glad that we're able to get to have this conversation and share your mission.
I know. I mean, that's part of it too. Like, I mean, God is literally in the details. Like us DMing, God has just opened so many doors to like get the message out that's quicker than just Alicia and Instagram. Little glimpses every single day of the Holy Spirit working. And it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. It is very cool. If people want to connect with you, Alicia, and follow along with this journey, where's the best place?
Yeah, go to Instagram first. One of the collegians I work with, she is just dying to get me on TikTok. And I'm like, I have 2 small children, a full scale CPG business. And I'm like trying to like build this other arm. I cannot also commit to TikTok, but Instagram number one. I also have a website and DMs. Like I'm in DMs all the time. And I would love to just talk. Like I had a collegian this morning send a resume and say, I'm applying for this fashion role. I'm like, she was like, help me out with stuff. And I was like, I will. Like, I will do everything I can from my DMs. I would love to eventually have more classes and cohorts of, walking through this, like the Corporate Sorority Sister method is what I call it, of like claiming who you are. So you're like a brand and identity, and then getting your storytelling together. So all the translating, and then how do you show the world? Be visible. So I'll have cohorts of those, virtual and in person. I love to speak on campuses. I'm speaking on Arkansas's campus next week, podcasting, just DMs. That's where it's at.
All right. We'll have all the links to your Instagram, your website, everything will be in the show notes so people can click through and connect with you. And thanks for making time to come on. I feel like we're going to need to have you back because I feel like we just skimmed the surface and there's so much more we could get into, but this was a really great start.
I could talk about sororities all day.
Me too. We'll have to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Welcome to Liz's House Hot Takes. This is where I take the lessons I've learned over the last 16 years of designing Greek houses and offer you my pro tips. Here's today's House Hot Take. Recruitment deadlines are your driver. If you want your project ready for recruitment, work backwards from the big week. Furniture should be in, punch lists complete, and spaces styled, ideally at least 1 month before recruitment starts. That way the chapter has time to settle in, nobody's dodging painters during sisterhood round or prepping for recruitment. Recruitment-ready spaces mean stress-free experiences for chapter members and advisors alike. Thanks for listening to another House Hot Take. For more inspiration, check out the PDR Interiors Instagram or TikTok. I'm Liz Toombs, and this is the Sorority Chat podcast. Catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you got something out of today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check out this video right here or this one over here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. On that note, I'm Liz Toombs with Sorority Chat, and I'll see you on the next one. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry for Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Liz Toombs.